Major breaking news. 2 million Canadians are exiting out of Canada. These folks are born and raised here. They're sick of the Canadian depression. They're sick of it. They're working full time and they can't get ahead, so they're bouncing to the United States. And you better believe when I say Mark Carney's not going to let you tax generators leave. He's not. He's going to keep you right here. Because people are exiting out of Canada, rents are coming down. And get this, get a load of this. Banks are not renewing people's mortgages. When your renewals come up, banks are saying, sorry, you don't make enough. We're not going to renew your mortgage. Basically, the bank is going to take your house. Now, these guys are in a panic to sell it before the mortgage renewal comes up. This is crazy. 2 million people. Just like that. So if you're planning on leaving this country, you better do it quick before the Liberal Party puts a stop to it.
Leave Canada before 2026 and before it's too late.
Well, this is not a surprise. Canadians are leaving the country in record numbers, and nearly 50% are from one province. Can you guess that province? Emigration from Canada hit a level not seen in years, with thousands of residents deciding to start fresh somewhere else in search of cheaper cost of living or an improved quality of life.
Canada is a terrible country to live. Thousands of immigrants, expats, and Canadians are moving out of Canada because of the regulations, the taxes, and the restrictions that the government is imposing on its citizens.
This is not good. Canada is having a mass exodus. People are leaving Canada in numbers not seen since 1967.
Listen, if you're thinking of leaving Canada, just do it. Leave.
Do you feel like you're working harder than ever but getting nowhere? Are you struggling to afford basic things like groceries and a place to live, even though you have a good job? If you're a Canadian, you're not alone. In this video, we're going to dive into the shocking reason behind a mass exodus from Canada, a phenomenon we haven't seen in over 50 years. We'll explore why so many people are packing their bags and leaving the country and what that means for Canada's future. Stick around. You're going to hear from real people about the struggles they're facing and the solution they're finding. It is a wake-up call, and you're not going to want to miss this. But before we get into it, please, guys, take a moment, like this video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment with your thoughts down below. Your engagement helps us bring you more content like this, and of course, don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so that you never miss any updates. So, guys, let us watch the clips, and then I'll be back with my further commentary.
I'm the Canadian that moved from Canada to Texas, and yesterday my post went crazy. A ton of you guys wanting to know more. I thank you for all the positive comments. There's a lot of negative on there, and I hate all the negative, but I have to remember I'm doing this for those that want to know more, or maybe the ones that feel stuck in Canada. And so why we left? We left because during COVID, we didn't like how the government handled anything. And we realized when we went across the border, so we went to Florida during COVID, we actually got across, and it was a breath of fresh air when we saw that people had a choice to wear a mask or not wear a mask. And that's when me and my husband realized that, do we want to be in Canada if this is the way Canada is going to go? So we felt the freedom in the States more than Canada, and that's why we're here. So we looked at Florida. Well, we never really thought about Florida, but we definitely knew Texas was one we wanted to visit. We came and visit last December, and then here we are.
More people are leaving Canada than ever, and the ones packing their bags are often the most educated. Over 27,000 Canadians and permanent residents left early 2025, and almost 210,000 non-permanent residents followed, a 54% jump from last year. StatsCan says those most likely to leave are highly educated, child-free, or born in places like Taiwan, the US, and France.
Canada is a terrible country to live. Thousands of immigrants, expats, and Canadians are moving out of Canada because of the regulations, the taxes, and the restrictions that the government is imposing on its citizens.
This is not good. Canada is having a mass exodus. People are leaving Canada in numbers not seen since 1967. 106,134 Canadians left Canada, making it the highest departure since 1967, which represents a 3% increase from 2023 and a 17% increase compared to 2019. And one province is leading the charge. Take a guess which one it is. If you guessed Ontario, you nailed it. nearly half of all Canadians leaving the country, they're leaving Ontario. That makes it more than Quebec, BC, and Alberta all combined. Canada has a massive affordability problem. Plain and simple. Weak laws, sky-high inflation, uncontrolled spending, and here's the craziest part. Nearly half of all Canadians voted for this. Again and again and again and again.
I'm leaving Canada and I'm not coming back. I'm actually tweaking right now. The only reason I will ever come back to Canada is if I legally fucking have to, or if I need to make money to leave again. I just finished crying because the healthcare system in this country is so fucking bad. I have been a Canadian citizen since the second I was born. And tell me why I can't find a doctor when I do go to a walk-in clinic, and there's only two, okay? When I do go to a walk-in clinic, they will only let me talk about one thing at once. I went to a walk-in clinic today, and the thing that I talked about was so quick. It was about me, like, getting a blood test. All he had to do was print out a piece of fucking paper. And I said, oh, since it was so quick, can you please look at my left ear because I can't hear anything out of it. And he says, no, you can only talk about one thing at a time. I said, and so now I'm sat here, I can't hear anything out of my left ear, and I have to go back again. Canadian healthcare is supposed to be free. Tell me why I have to pay for my hepatitis B shot, bro. Why the fuck? That's not like an optional vaccine. You're supposed to get your hepatitis B. Anyways, so in 1 week I will be in Singapore. I really hope I can hear out of my left ear before I'm in Singapore. But in 1 week I'll be in Singapore, and I bought a one-way ticket, and I don't know how long I'm going to be in Asia, but I'm going to be in Asia for many, many months. And then after that I'm going to come back and I'm going to make hella money, and I'm going to fuck off again to a new continent because I can't do this anymore. In Canada we have individuality, lack of culture, everybody's alone. You get like 2 weeks off of work a year, maximum. Everybody's fucking depressed. The weather is shit. I literally slipped on the ice today coming back from my walk-in clinic appointment. After 23 years, I'm failing to see like the purpose of living here. Like, I'd rather be a Canadian citizen than like a Venezuelan citizen, for example. But I feel like Canada is slowly turning into a third world country, and I'm just like, no, I'm gonna leave. If you're a Canadian citizen, you can go to the Canadian government website and you can apply for working holiday visas to an insane amount of countries. If you have Italian descent, like if your parents are Italian, if your grandparents or your great-grandparents are Italian, you can apply for Italian citizenship, and you don't even have to live in Italy. Once you get Italian citizenship, that is EU citizenship, and you can live anywhere in the European Union. If you have the opportunity to leave this country, you should fucking do it, okay? And some people will say, oh, well, you can go to these other countries and this country also doesn't have good healthcare, and this country this and this country that. Okay, I would rather go to another country that also has shitty healthcare, but I can afford to live, you know? Like, I'm not paying $2,000 for an apartment. I'm not paying fucking $250 for 2 weeks worth of groceries for one person. I'm not doing.
Welcome back, and that was some powerful and eye-opening stuff, guys. So the clips you just saw paint a stark picture of a country in crisis with a significant number of citizens and even newcomers choosing to leave. This is not a small trickle, it is a mass exodus with immigration reaching levels not seen since 1967, my guy. Thousands of people from highly educated professionals to everyday citizens are relocating in search of a better quality of life. And it is a trend that's most prominent in Ontario, which accounts for nearly half of all departures, outpacing Quebec, British Columbia, and Alberta combined. The data tells us that those most likely to leave are often highly educated, child-free individuals, or those who were born in places like the US or France. So, what's driving this historic departure? Let's break it down. Guys, the biggest factor, as many of you likely guessed, is the high cost of living. People are reporting that even with 2 or 3 jobs, they can't simply get ahead. The Canadian dream, which has for many years been about achieving a stable and comfortable life, is now feeling out of reach. Groceries in particular are a major pain point. We've had stories of people struggling to afford $250 for just 2 weeks worth of food for one person. Rent and housing costs have skyrocketed, making it nearly impossible for many people to save for a down payment or even find a decent affordable apartment. Fuel costs are also a huge burden, adding to the financial strain. Social media is also filled with people venting their frustration, showing how hard work no longer guarantees success or even the ability to afford basic necessities. Another major concern for Canadians living in the country is the perceived governmental overreach through regulations, taxes, and restrictions. Many people feel that high taxes are wiping out their wealth even if they are earning a good income. There is also a sense of frustration with how the government handled recent events like the COVID-19 mandates, leading some to feel that they have more freedom in other countries like the US. Now, this sentiment is that weak laws coupled with sky-high inflation and uncontrolled spending are contributing to Canada's spiraling affordability problem. You might have been surprised to hear that a country with a reputation for universal health care is now seeing its system described as so effing bad by its own citizens. People are having an incredible hard time finding a family doctor, and walk-in clinics often limit patients to discussing only one issue per visit, forcing them to come back repeatedly. Guys, it's crazy. And there is even reports of people having to pay for services that are supposedly free, like hepatitis B shot. Imagine waiting 9 months just to see a doctor for a single issue. It is no wonder people are seeking better healthcare options abroad and elsewhere. Beyond the big three issues that I've mentioned about, there is a growing sense of a decreased quality of life and social issues in Canada. What do I mean by this? There's so many people that feel, despite working full-time, they can't get ahead, leading to what some are calling Canadian depression. Banks are reportedly not renewing mortgages because they have deemed some homeowners don't make enough money or income, a terrifying prospect that could lead to a wave of forced home sales. And there is a perception that a glut of cheap labor is negatively impacting the job market for Canadians. I talked about this in the Indian fatigue. Social people are feeling a lack of community. There is a sentiment that Canada is everybody's alone and that the country lacks a strong unified cultural identity. Add to that the limited vacation time, often just 2 weeks a year, and the often unfavorable weather, and it's easy to see why people are looking for a change of scenery. So the departure of highly educated individuals and job creators is particularly worrying because it risks a brain drain, leaving behind a smaller or middle class to shoulder the tax burden, which could lead to further economic decline. Now, guys, here's the paradox. While many Canadians are leaving Canada, Canada remains a dream destination for many people from third world countries like Kenya, India, other various African nations. They are fighting to get in, seeking the opportunities and living standards that many Canadians feel like they are now they are low, they are not worth it, and they are finding something elsewhere. And it's a bizarre and a heartbreaking situation where Canada citizens feel they can't afford to live in a place that others are willing to give anything to call home. This brings us to a crucial question. I'm going to ask you to tell me in the comments, are these problems unique to Canada? All right? Some sources are saying that issues like a lack of jobs are global problems and that people will face similar struggles in the US or in the UK. However, the data shows that many Canadians are finding better opportunities elsewhere. We've had stories of people who moved to Texas and felt more freedom, or to Mexico, and immediately they saw savings on rent and utilities. Others are moving to Singapore for better healthcare. People are actively seeking solutions. They are getting working holiday visas to travel and work abroad, or exploring options like the TN visa for the US for those in specific professions. For those with Italian heritage, there is even the possibility of obtaining EU citizenship by descent, which opens up the entire continent. And for those with significant wealth, a golden visa to other countries is a pathway to residency and a more favorable tax environment. So the bottom line is that While Canada struggles with internal challenges, its citizens are proving they are not powerless. Yeah, you can see that exactly. And they're taking matters into their own hands, selling their homes and using the flexibility of remote work to find a better life abroad. This trend is a powerful signal that the status quo is no longer working for many, and that a significant number of Canadians are willing to leave everything behind to find a place where hard work truly pays off. So, what do you think about this? Are you a Canadian who has considered leaving or already has left? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to like and share this video to keep the conversation going on. I'll see you in the next one.